Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth, where a mental health nurse and an accountant talk about wealth creation, personal development, and financial independence in the UK to help you live the life you deserve. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth. This is episode 47. We've got both Alexes back again. And this year, as we're kind of rounding off the year, it's December the 11th now. We set ourselves some targets way back in earlier in 2024. I don't remember the month, but I think it was the first kind of quarter of the year. So we're just going to close the loop on that, just come back, discuss what those targets were, and then also see whether we've met them. And we'll just talk about how we've got to where we've got. We're going to add some other kind of things we've thought about throughout the week as well. So we're going to bring a new segment that we call Return on Heartbeats, which is something that accountant Alex brought to us a good number of months ago. And it's just what you do in life, because we only get a certain number of heartbeats, and whether what you're doing is a good return on those heartbeats. So we're going to bring a small segment about that. We'll also play a reasonable or ridiculous at the end of the episode, and we'll give you some kind of stats and figures, perhaps some percentages on updates of where we've got in terms of hitting our goals for this year. So, Alex, do you want me to go first for my kind of target to remind people what it was and then see how far we got, and then you, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I think it's worth saying as well. I think we should set our goals again, maybe in an episode in the new year once we've reflected. But I think it's something I've always done, and I found quite valuable just to set some goals out at the start of the year. Um, and yeah, it'd be cool to hear how we've both done.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to re-goal set as well, perhaps January, and then fill in December to see if we've met them. Yeah, so my initial goal at that point, it was very simple. It was just to try and fill half of my ISA. So I earn band six NHS nursing money. You can freely look up my salary on the internet if you wish. So I don't earn masses and masses of money. I think a lot of the people who are in the fire kind of path and follow like Reddit forums, etc., and talk about it, they think everyone on this path earns like monstrous amounts of money, and it's for other people who earn ridiculous salaries, and it's just out of reach for the everyday person. But I am an everyday person. I do a regular job in a clinic, and I don't earn humongous amounts of money. It's just over 40,000 per year. So I'm here to really to say that it can be done by lower earning people such as myself. Um, so my initial target back then was to fill half my ISA. So the maximum you can put in per year is 20,000. So my target was to put 10 for this kind of year, and we're running the year kind of until December, not April. I failed miserably. Well, not miserably. I managed to put in 7,900. So I normally, for the last couple of years, I've put in 6,900. I managed to add £1,000 to that as a result of setting the target, just because I was a little bit more matter of fact with the money I had. When I had some extra, I was like, well, what should I do with it? So I ended up putting a little bit more into my ISA, and I'm happy with the extra 1,000. I wouldn't have probably put that in if I didn't, like if Alex and I didn't have that conversation and set that goal. So I'm nearly 80% of the way there. So I'm 79% of the way to getting towards 10,000. And I think I'll probably redo that goal for next year.
I think I mean, that's huge still to put that amount of money into an ISA is so so admirable. And I think, it's in that nice tax shelter. It's going to be earning tax-free returns now, assuming you never take it out forever. So it's massive. I think it's a big achievement.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm very happy with it. I think a lot of people get lost in the weeds where people just come on a Reddit post and they're like, "Yeah, I max my ISA and I put 60 grand in my pension a year," and I'm just like, "Well, that's crazy. You clearly must earn an absolute fortune to be able to do that." But for me to put, I mean, nearly 8,000, I'll probably, to be honest, chuck another 100 in just to round the figure off before the end of the year. I'd prefer it to say 8 than, 7.9. But I'm genuinely happy with the amount that's gone in there. I see it as I'm paying my future self, as we've discussed, and I don't miss the money. Like I don't think, oh, I wish I had £7,900 extra because I've not needed to spend it on anything in particular. And I do an automatic direct debit after I get paid, and I can't say that my life has suffered in any way, shape, or form as a result of doing that. I think it's only going to improve as that compounding kicks in.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a. I think once you have a few months of it going out and investing it, you very rarely remember what it was like before. So yeah, I feel exactly the same. Um,
I think I probably, knowing me, would have wasted it on stuff, to be honest with you, rather than using it for a good cause. Like future me will massively be happy that the mid 30s me has done these things. So I really, my plan is to continue. Obviously, I'll continue that for as long as I can do with my current salary. I have been making moves at work to up my salary over the coming kind of 12 to 24 months. So I'm hoping that'll make the target next year a little bit easier. In other kind of terms, I was just doing a little bit of kind of maths and stats like earlier today and kind of prep for this episode. And Alex, being the accountant, has of course done his own, but it's just some stuff I was quite kind of shocked to read. Like my this is just me, not my wife. She's obviously invests in her own ISA and has her own pension, etc. And this is not including any house equity. But in the last 12 months, I've managed to increase my net worth by £23,785, which is crazy when you think about it. And I'll just break down a little bit of where that's come from. I mean, nearly eight's come from my contributions to my ISA. Um, I looked at my kind of Vanguard platform earlier today, and it's that ISA has returned me £6,285 and 54 pence, which is crazy.
yeah.
Like it's done a lot of the
Wow.
lifting there, and I know we've had a kind of an outsourced like year in terms of the gains we've had. It's been incredibly good, which is why that figure is so high. But it just really goes to show that the path does work, and doing things like this can make humongous differences in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, even just that, the £6,000 increase just from the returns, that's like an extra
Mm.
£500 a month going into your account.
Yeah, I've not had to
There's
earn
a,
it.
yeah, yeah, it
It's
is,
huge.
it is massive, isn't
Huge.
it?
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm going to get to the point where that's going to become a whole salary in like a third salary that's going to come into my wife's life without us having to earn it. I mean, there's a big difference between kind of the 8,000 and the six that I've made from the ISA up to the 23 that I've total. The rest of that's come from pension contributions, which of course I and my employers do contribute to as well. And there's a little bit of cash kind of savings in there as well, which is only 500 of it. So it's crazy to think that in total across pensions and ISAs, the growth there is 12,800, 12,385, which is literally nearly
Yeah,
half, which is crazy in my book. Absolutely crazy.
yeah, it almost becomes quite addictive, I find as well.
Yeah,
Like looking at this.
I think this year has been one of the first years where I've actually looked at the kind of the numbers and gone like, oh my god, this is working.
Yeah,
Like the behaviors you're putting in place and the sacrifices you make and the good kind of financial behaviors you follow are really making a difference. And I hope every year is the same as this or better. Um,
yeah,
I'm still a bit astounded by it, to be honest with you.
yeah. I think it's amazing, and yeah, well done. Yeah, it's just such good results, and hopefully for the listeners as well, you can start to see what it can do when you just implement some of the disciplines and techniques that we've been advocating. Um, but yeah, I can talk through my stats as well if you like.
Yeah, please do. I've got
Um,
no other. I've exhausted
yeah,
my half a page of stats that I have here. So,
yeah, there's some good
um,
some good stats.
yeah, they're great.
Um,
And just one final thing, they were measured from the 11th of December 23 to the 11th of December 24, which is today. So it's a solid 12-month time frame. Yeah, so it's not been
Perfect.
gamed by actually giving 18 months worth and saying they're 12. It's a solid 12 months to the day.
Yeah, no, no, that's fair. Yeah, I've done very similar. So I was, yeah, December to today as well. Um, and so yeah, my goal at the start of the year, or whenever we set them, was um to have between my ISA investments and my pension. So this would be my workplace pension plus my SIP, was to have 250,000. And so it sounds like a quite an outlandish goal, but my starting point was I had around 210,000 was my starting position. So I would have needed to have gone and contributed to get to 250. And my goal was to do that and also get to maximize my ISA. And so in total, so I contributed 34,000. So that was a maximizing my ISA plus my pension contribution, and that does include my employer match. Um, and then my investments crazily grew by 45,000, and then to give me a landing number of 290. So this excludes any house equity and it excludes any. We have a bit of separate cash that me and my partner use to overpay the house. But what's quite now exciting is I think I can comfortably coast now to a normal retirement without actually having to put any more money a into my investment. So I just did a super quick calculation. So assuming a 4% return, so keeping it in kind of fairly prudent. If I didn't do anything, then let that run for 30 years, I'd have by just around £930,000 in investments, which would give an annual drawdown of about 37k, um, which is quite pleasing. I think knowing that I can just let it. I mean, my plan is obviously to keep putting money away and investing, but you get to the point where I don't actually have to put any more money into my investment accounts, knowing that I can quite prudently just let it run. Um, it's quite a big milestone for me.
I'd say it's massive, a humongous milestone. I mean, literally set your target on fire and run by it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Um, it's crazy in terms of like you setting what is an audacious goal, but with some good market returns and a lot of financial astuteness for the last kind of 7, 8 years on your behalf, it's crazy what you can achieve. I don't ever expect you to kind of coast into retirement at all, but I would now work to bring that retirement date much, much closer, which of course you're going to do. But just knowing that, like the version of you 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, um, has started yourself along this path, and you're actually seeing huge, tangible results here to really shove you in the right direction. Like you've done all the heavy lifting, and now your money is working for you, which is really what it's where we want everyone who's listening to this to get
yeah,
to have that moment of looking at your stats and be like, oh my God, I've hit this milestone. This is real.
yeah, yeah. It's quite crazy, and I'm glad we did this episode because it's one of those things. Often I track my stuff um, almost obsessively, but
Of course you do.
to kind of like take a step back and think, okay, what did I actually want to do at the beginning of 12 months ago versus what's happened? I think it's really positive, and obviously, quite a chunk of that increase is due to the market returns, and we know that market doesn't do that every year, and there's going to be times when it goes down. But even to have just maximized my employee contributions and maximized my ISA, I feel really, yeah, really pleased with that, and I think. Well, yeah, just content, and I think knowing that actually you could take the foot off the gas now and just let the money coast away into retirement, I think is also quite nice, knowing that that's always an option. Not, and yeah, not that that's the plan, but yeah, I think and this started out as very kind of small numbers, contributing a few £100s a month many years ago. It just builds, and yeah, I think it's quite motivating when you start to see those kind of numbers. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I mean, just to put some extra kind of flavor with that. So you went from 210 to 290.
Yes.
Yeah. So some of that will be like employer contributions to your pension, some of it's market returns, some of it's your own kind of contributions. But do you have any breakdown of what's like which is which in terms of numbers for that?
Yeah, so I would have 20 of it is my ISA contributions.
Hmm.
45 is returns, and then
Crazy.
of the 14, um, I put in probably two-thirds of that. So just to say round it to 15 for ease of math. 10
Mm.
would 10 would be my own contributions, and 5 would be my employer contributions
Yeah.
for my
So
pension. Yeah. So kind of that kind of ratio. Yeah.
yeah, and I know you'd have the figures for that, of course, because you've got figures for everything. But it just goes to show that it's not you grafting and doing all of the work. You're doing the majority of it for sure, but there's some employer contribution to your pension, which people should be getting. And if you're not, talk to your employer. Why are you not getting it? Talk, like, dig in a bit deeper about what pension they offer. And if you have any questions, email us and we'll try our best to help you answer them. Obviously, not giving you financial advice, but just suggestions on what we would do, where we would look if we were in your shoes. Some of that is, oh, I say some of that is investment market growth. So £45,000 worth of growth is more than an average UK salary. It's more than I make in an entire year. And it's been dropped into your kind of investment accounts through past prudent behavior. And it is crazy for me to think that, like, combined, we've made nearly £52,000 on our investment returns.
Yeah.
Obviously, massively weighted your end, but that's a humongous amount of money.
Yeah, it's massive, and it's all by following the steps that we talk about and following the behavior. So it's one of those. I think it really proves the power of it,
It's
of what we
huge.
discuss, and having that financial education and being disciplined and having a plan and putting your money to work. It really does make a huge, yeah. It
I mean, it is
it's
making a
working.
huge difference. I mean,
Yeah.
how many? Do you remember how old you were when you first put some money in the markets? I mean, for me, that was 2019, 5 years ago now. How many years has it been for you?
So I've always, I would say, been speculating in little shares and stuff since I was probably been about 18, 19. But then
Mm,
I guess I started putting bits into index funds probably around mid 20s. But then
mm,
I'd always maximized my employer pension. That was one thing I'd always just done. And so that would have been from I start work 23 years old. Um, but then really started to get aggressively investing and really meaning it. Yeah, probably about 7, 8 years ago. Like I would really start taking it seriously. Stop trying to like pick shares, and it was like no,
mm.
just index and put as much as I can into it and let it run. That was kind of when I got kind of really serious. But I guess I've always had a huge interest in investments in the markets, and yeah, when I was like 18 and a student working part time in a canteen, thinking I could outsmart Warren Buffett's returns, you quickly kind of realize you can't do that. Um,
Yeah,
but
you had a
yeah,
steep learning curve at that point, and then just trust the
exactly,
process. Kind
and
of.
yeah, that's it. So I always saw I lost money on some of the like the AIM shares in the UK, like the uh, tiny penny shares.
I do. I
Often would
remember
invest.
briefly reading
Yeah,
about it. Not that I did any of it myself.
yeah. So I mean that's where I started investing because you obviously want to invest 100 quid and then it become 10,000
Yeah,
over the course
that's
of a
the
month.
dream.
Exactly. Which see you learn you pay for the lesson is what I see that as being.
Yeah,
When
it's
I
an
lost that.
education of sorts, isn't it? You're being humbled by the market. Yeah,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
it's worked really well. Like, you've taken all of those lessons. Obviously, you've taken a small financial hit, but you've learned from every step of that.
Yeah.
Been really prudent, followed the path that we talk about and that we advocate. And we've both been doing the same thing, albeit with different amounts. So I imagine you earn slightly more than I do, but it's proof of concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it works if you follow it and you continue to go. I mean, with history being our guide, that's why we've got to kind of this path, these ideas. They're not. they're not our own unique ideas. They're ideas other people have had, and we're just learning from them and trying to consolidate all of those kind of books, podcasts, YouTube tutorials, and stuff that we've watched, and just condense them into actionable episodes that you can listen to on a commute or a walk or wherever, whatever you're doing. So, in terms of like, just to go back to kind of target and goal setting, obviously you've smashed yours out the park. So, have you got any ideas of what you'll kind of target next year? And just how how do you feel knowing that you've achieved that?
Yeah, it feels good. Feels really good actually. In terms of next year, I'm not. It's always hard because there's so much to dictate from the market, and it's so much of the return is now from the market. But I would look to do similar in terms of my own contributions.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that's all
it'd
we
be a
can
bit more,
control, right? What we contribute.
exactly. So it would be more if I can fill the ISA again and make sure I'm maxing my employer pension, which I will do. And then maybe put in a bit more. So yeah. If I got to, I mean, 350 is the big milestone of the next one. So maybe
Mm.
that's the big hairy goal for this.
Yeah, the BHAG, right? The big, hairy, audacious
Yeah,
goal. I think that was
that's quite a big.
Carl
Yeah, that's like
Richards.
60 grand.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
it's a
that,
chunk.
it's a lot.
You never know. The
No.
economists always thought 2024 would be terrible for markets, but now look at it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, who knows? I think that's a good point. Like, control what you can control.
Yeah.
Put the money, whatever spare money you have, whether it's a little bit, whether it's a lot, put it to work for you, so it's earning you money whilst you sleep, and really think about where you want to get to in the next kind of year, 5 years, 10 years or so. I think my goal, to be honest, will be the same because I've managed 80% of this one. I've had a small job change. There'll be some extra money on the horizon for me as well, and I'll have reduced my costs slightly in terms of commuting. So there should be, a key word here is should, there should be some extra disposable income that I can use as I see fit. Um, and it might get me towards that goal. Who knows? Life and just get in the way, and kind of derail that plan a little bit. But I think if you set something with good intentions, you're much more likely to achieve it than if you just half-heartedly say, "Well, I'll try and do something like that when I've paid all my bills, etc." Okay, Alex, do you think that's enough on targets or anything like that? Is there anything else you wanted to bring?
No, I think that makes sense, and I like the point you just made on focusing on the inputs and what you can control. So, I mean,
Mm.
at Amazon we always talk about inputs and outputs, and everything's about as long as you control the right inputs and you do what you can, then the output should kind of take care of itself. But then there's the thing of if you just like you can't be reliant on huge stock market returns all the time, but you can control what you contribute, you can control what you spend, where you invest, and you can control to an extent how much you can earn and things. So focus on those bits and let the let your investments do their thing, but almost don't be wedded on achieving goals, assuming you're going to get 300% returns on your bitcoins or whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it's worth saying, like, if you're not in a position to put any money in your ISA this year, then that's fine. We're not saying you must do that, but say you're, I don't know, you're studying so you can get a better paid job in a career that you really love. I mean, that's an investment in yourself. I would say
Yep,
one of the best investments I've ever made is in myself, in being qualified in something. It's now given me a profession that I enjoy, and it's given me a career for as long as I would like it, and it's also given me a minimum amount that I would accept to earn, and that has gone up a crazy amount. Like, people who have listened before, they'll know I used to earn 18, 19,000 working in a hospital. Now, obviously, with inflation, etc., that 18, 19K was in 20, was it 2016, something like that, 2015. Now my minimum amount, I wouldn't take a job that pays me less than 40, um, just because that's how much I know I can earn. That's the value that society puts on my kind of clinical knowledge. But it just gives you a slightly higher baseline. Um, you don't want to be going through life earning minimum wage for the foreseeable. I really don't think being financially independent is doable on minimum wage. So anything you can do to increase your value to society or to get a job that pays you more, that'll pay off massively than saving 10% of a minimum wage income for sure.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Okay. The only other two things here, Alex, I've got are a reasonable or ridiculous, and also I mentioned at the beginning just something about return on heartbeats. So we talk an awful lot about being prudent with your money, making good financial decisions. And we've mentioned before about what we consider to be a good return on the number of heartbeats that we get. So I have no idea how many heartbeats you get in a year or how many you get in an average life. I just think you live to what, being at mid 80s, something like that. I mean, Oliver Berkman put it that you live for 4,000 weeks in one of his previous books of the same title. And I like to think a little bit about what you do each day, each week, each month as a return on the heartbeats that you have. So yesterday, what's the 11th? Yeah, so yesterday, my wife and I spent quite a lot of money to go to a violin concert, which is the work of a composer called Hans Zimmer. You probably heard some of the music that he's composed, probably without knowing him by name.
See, like the Gladiator.
Yes, he
Yes, yeah,
was. So
yeah.
yeah, he did Gladiator. So he's a German composer. He did Gladiator, Inception, Pirates of the Caribbean. He did the Dune scores as well. He did one for some war films, The Pacific, which is a good series, and a film called Dunkirk, which actually the one of the violinists said the film Dunkirk has got a like a start to finish instrumental. The music never stops. It's a constant thing. And I've never seen the film, but I'll have to watch it given that. He also did some composing for one of the Batman movies, The Dark Knight, and I forget the other one. He did some for
Schindler's
The Lion
List as well.
King. Well, don't know Schindler's List. Maybe it wasn't in
Yeah.
their
Oh,
song list.
I mean, how awesome is that though?
That's
That you got to see.
incredible. So
Yeah.
I saw an advert for it, and it was in a local town of Rochester here, and it's done as um, I think they called it composition by candlelight or candlelight something, and it's just this big room in a fancy looking what I thought was a hotel, but it's just like a function room thing. Um, really high ceilings, really good acoustics, and at the front on the stage there was 300 like LED little candles, and then four musicians. There was two violins, one viola, and I don't really know the difference, and another lady playing a like a cello, like a tall violin. Sorry to any musicians if I've butchered that. And they played for about an hour, right? And these tickets, I can't remember the exact cost of them because I bought them about 2 months ago, but I think we probably paid about £60 for both of us to sit. And you get kind of seats and you get rows, and there are four options. There's premium right at the front. There's zone A, which is the one I booked because I thought that was the best value for the view and experience. And then the zones B, C, and D. And what they don't tell you is zones C and D, you can't really see the stage because there's too many heads in the way and it's just a flat floor. But I really enjoyed it. It cost us, what, 50 pence a minute, something like that. I don't regret spending that money at all. It was incredible to hear people play those things of that quality and of that technicality was unreal. I spent a lot of it with my eyes closed, to be honest, just listening to the music. And I would 100% do it again.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It was great.
'Cause, yeah, I, I think things like that you're never ever gonna forget. And I think
No.
it's so easy to spend 60 quid going out for a very average meal somewhere, isn't it? And
Yeah. Or half
it's
a pair of
or
trainers.
half, yeah, exactly. And so, but to have something which you're never gonna, which is quite, you never forget it, and it's quite novel and something new, and it could actually lead to you really getting into this kind of music as well.
I love like piano is my favorite instrument because it's so versatile and you can play anything on a piano.
Yeah,
But I've recently been getting more into kind of piano and violin in combination. And I've seen some of those films. I've heard some of those uh, kind of pieces played on a violin just on YouTube. And but to hear it in real life and to watch how they do it, their finger movements, the sheer level of concentration that must take and the practice, it was brilliant. I had um, goosebumps literally the entire time.
yeah, that is. Yeah, I'm similar actually. I've just put something in the thing, which is I don't know if you've
Mm,
heard of Ludovico Einaudi, but
I
very.
have.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that's if you've not heard of him, I think you'd like that kind of music with piano and violins.
Yeah, no, I've heard of it. Sometimes I watch some YouTubers play some stuff like that, and I find it really calming,
Yes.
and also like ridiculously impressive as
Mm.
well. Um, yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So that was that. So that Return on Heartbeats for me was top tier. It was really, really good. I don't think my wife enjoyed it quite as much as me. But I mean, we bought two drinks, which was £5.60 or something. I don't know, like for two lemonades or whatever. Which so the whole thing, 65, a bit of fuel, call it 70 total. I don't regret spending it at all. And I've just been humming like some of the tunes all day today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
really, really quite good.
well, thank you for sharing that. I think that's a really nice. It's yeah, return on heartbeat section is good. I like that.
Yeah, so I think we'll add it next time. So next week it'll be up to you uh,
I will
to add
try.
something, or
I'm
maybe me, or
trying to
maybe
think what
me. I don't
what,
know.
what I'll be doing over the next few days. But yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will definitely.
yeah.
Um,
Just keep it in your mind. I like the idea that you came up with that, or like a return on heartbeat. So you read it somewhere because yes, we're on this kind of pathway, and yes, we're prudent with the cash that we have and the money we make and the investments we choose. But at the same time, life is for living. Like balance
it
it.
is absolutely.
Yeah, if you can, and if you're listening to two Alexes talk about money wherever you are, you're probably doing pretty well yourself. So spend a little bit of the money to make your life a little bit easier. Do the thing, go to the place, book the holiday, help someone else who perhaps might need it, especially around Christmas if you can. Just do, yeah, be a good custodian of the money you have. Yeah, I can still hear the kind of violins. It was, yeah, really quite good. Um, Alex, have you got anything in mind for reasonable or ridiculous for this week?
I did have one thing in
Mm.
mind, although I have not been a user of it myself, but I thought it was a subscription for toilet roll. I don't know if you've
Okay,
seen that.
I have.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I just saw it and just thought, wow, that's like literally people will subscribe to anything.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, I'm not the biggest. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. I think it's quite a new, like quite a bit of a novelty thing to do, and it's just another middle class subscription and something to differentiate yourself at the school gates with. Um, honestly, I don't know how much it is. I just saw it and just thought, wow, what a ridiculous thing. But if they've got the money to pay for TV advertising at peak time, then they clearly must be doing something well or have got some investors with some deep pockets. But yeah, I don't know if that was my bit, which I just thought was slightly ridiculous.
Um, so I've heard of it. I've heard of one company called Who Gives a Crap doing it, and you just have it like delivered.
That's it.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I have bought toilet roll from them in bulk. I've never subscribed to it because I don't really like the idea of thinking, oh, I've got 12 rolls of this left. Oh my God, I'm going to have another 48 delivered in a week.
Mm.
What am I going to do with it?
Yeah,
So I get there is a point if you just want some delivered, but you'd have less, I think, and it would end up costing you more. I'd rather buy in bulk and store it
yeah,
and do that. I do think there is some benefit for some people of this kind of constant subscription model of having stuff delivered to take some of the kind of decision fatigue off of you. But I think
yeah,
at this point it gets a bit ridiculous. I mean, I bought some like laundry detergent from eBay earlier today, and there's a subscription for that. Save 3% or whatever, and we'll deliver it to you every 3 months or something. But the one time I buy it, or I forget to stop the subscription, and I have too much, is then it's gone wrong for me and right for the company. You end up having like four of the same thing at your house because you can't be bothered to go and turn the subscription off, or they make it so difficult to unsubscribe that you end
yes,
up just it's too much hassle and you end up having too much of whatever you're ordering. But
yeah,
yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it. So I would say it's can be reasonable, but is mostly ridiculous.
perfect. And any listeners, if you have um, any other option, any other opinions, please let us know.
Yeah, do. And if you want to come on and play Reasonable or Ridiculous with us, or you just have something you want us to chat about in terms of that, you can, of course, do that at the same time. If you've got a really good return on heartbeats, something that you've really enjoyed doing, let us know.
Yep,
And we'll bring
definitely.
it to the next episode as well. We'll probably do another one before Christmas. We'll have a little bit of a gap over the kind of festive time. So if you have any like year-end wins, if you've hit your targets and you've met them or you've exceeded them, and you want us just to shout them out to you on the show, we can definitely do that as well. You can email us at nursingyourwaytowealth@gmail.com. Alex, I think that'll do for this evening, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Alex. I think it's been a really good episode, and thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah, me too. And like an incredible well done on smashing your goals. Like
Oh,
ridiculous,
likewise.
ridiculous. I'm
Yeah.
really proud of you.
Well, I think this having doing this pod and being accountable to you is one of the reasons I've done it. So
Good.
it's yeah, all yeah, goes a long way.
It's a lovely ending to the year, isn't it? And yeah, I appreciate it. None of what we discuss on the show is to be considered financial or health advice, and we recommend you always do your own research or consult an independent financial advisor or a doctor when making your financial or health decisions.